So the Seattle Storm situation is mental. It is absolutely mental. And it is something that, you know, has just basically shown everything that's been negative to the WNBA. And the reason why I'm still talking about it is it is the gift. The gift that keeps on giving for this channel. Like, man, if this stuff was happening during the season, this would be almost like Cheryl Swoop's category. Like, this would be, on this channel, 20, 30, 40,000 views every single time. Like, we'd be seeing so much stuff about this. We would be seeing everything, like, everything talking negatively about the Seattle Storm. Or not even negatively, we'd be seeing more and more people caring. And I do want to apologize, first of all, if you do hear something in the background. I kind of have to keep my room hot because, yeah, you know, the kind of small illness that I had for quite a while. Yeah, it turns out I've had pneumonia the last month. But, so, what we know so far. We know that there is an investigation going on for workplace bullying. We don't know anything else. That's the reality situation. We don't know anything else. Obviously, there are people in the team that think the coaching staff were out of line, and there are people on the team that think the coaching staff were in line, the players were soft. The reality is that it has been minimized by certain journalists into just being Jewel Lloyd versus Arike Ogunbowale. Like, it's been or not Arike Ogunbowale, Jesus, Jewel Lloyd versus Skylar Diggins Smith. Because Nneka Nwumeke has seemingly, like, gone out of this whole thing. There has been supposed lies, according to Jewel Lloyd's agent, lies about her being only pissed at a Nike incentive. Like, there's so much nonsense. There's so much absolute nonsense. And then, like, we've have a journalist who apparently worked for the Storm say that, you know, the actual problem is not the fact that these two players hate each other and she seems to hate her. That these players hate each other. The actual problem is, you know, and then the coach is the problem. So, you've got one player who has an issue with the coach, another player who has an issue with the other player, and the problem is, you know, the fact that the ownership is the owners are white. And then, I'm not joking, this is the funniest thing. She may have sent a note up to herself. I've thoroughly enjoyed reading your situation. That it ended up with black women being pitted against each other. No one wins. For me, this further highlights why ownership groups should be diverse. I'm sorry. What the hell does the diverse ownership have to do with a coach who is black, having an argument with a player who is also of the same race, and a third player taking the coach's side who is the same race, the fourth player who's the head of the PA who's also the same race, taking the coaches and one player's side, and then Mercedes Russell taking Jewel Lloyd's side, who are all the same race? What does that have to do with anything? Like, what is, I'm sorry, issue in WNBA equals racism seems to just be a buzzword. Like, and as somebody, obviously, I'm not American. Like, I don't understand what goes on in that country. I don't want to understand what goes on in that country. Looking at it from the outside in, I don't want to understand what goes on in the head of Americans. But at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Racism is one of the worst thing, like, is a huge issue everywhere. And it's not something that should ever be taken lightly. And it's not something that should ever be just thrown around as a buzzword to use when there's a situation you don't like some WNBA freaking journalists have done. But now we've seen this right here. And these players are so... Look, I'm sorry. Like, if you want to say that these... Like, I don't want to say these players are dumb, but they are acting with emotions, and it is not a good look for the league. This entire situation is not a good look for the league. Why? Because there's currently an investigation into bullying. And what has happened? Former WNBA legend Tina Thompson hits back at Jewel Lloyd, using your assumed position of power to harm others is always attacking yourself. You'll never win. This is just a quote. Stop being hella lame, it's whack, from Tina Thompson. And then her caption is, example, shooting 36% from the field, 27% from 3 is not the coach's fault. It's simple. Be more efficient. So this is obviously a shot at Jewel Lloyd. So while there's an ongoing investigation about multiple members of the team, not just Jewel Lloyd, from the Storm, while there's an ongoing investigation with Skylar Diggins' team about a coaching staff, nothing to do with Skylar Diggins, by the way, word. She's responding with like, she's responding well to a hate post about her teammate, who they're both under contract next year, by the way. To her, a hate post about her teammate while there is an ongoing investigation from her coaching staff, of our coaching staff bullying multiple players, not just Jewell Loyd. And one of the big issues is there's a division that it's NECA, Skylar Diggins, and the coaching staff versus the rest, and she's basically proved it. Like, I'm sorry. Even if Jewell Loyd is just salty, what about stuff that Mercedes Russell has been said? What about the report that it's multiple players? Because if it is just Jewell Loyd versus the coaching staff, it would not have escalated into having a law firm investigate it. It would not have investigated to that if it was only Jewell Loyd. So there's obviously multiple players. But yet, Skylar Diggins has gone out of her way to make this a let's go and shit on Jewell Loyd. And then the Storm people have made this a let's go and shit on Jewell Loyd. Like, again, we saw from the article, and I've talked about it, they'll bring in the most irrelevant things. They'll be like, well, you know, Jewell Loyd didn't reach her, like, she didn't reach her points total, so she's pissed at that, so she wants her coach fired. And it's like, and there's better ways of getting a coach fired than that. She's Jewell freaking Loyd. She could literally say, I'm not playing for her. If she wants to be fired or traded, all she has to say is, I'm not playing for Noelle Quinn, and they have to make the choice. Why would you go and do all this crap? Because obviously, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. There's not going to be a legal investigation with a law firm if one player is just pissed off at a coach. From what we've read, there is multiple players have come out. There was an entire division in the team, and that supposedly slurs were used and players were threatened. And the reality of the situation is if that's true, then obviously it's a bigger deal. And like, I highly doubt a player of Jewell Loyd's level got to where she is by not taking some accountability. And at the same time, we don't know we don't know what's going on. And I hate being out here and like defending Jewell Loyd, because for all we know, Jewell Loyd, all this could be true. It could be unlikely, but we don't know enough to say whether or not Jewell Loyd is just pissed off about not getting enough touches, not getting enough scores, and not hitting her points. That could be true. And if that's true, wait for the investigation to finish, and then we can criticize Jewell Loyd. But what is true also right now is this is the least professional thing you can do as a WNBA player, is to like and positively respond to a hate post about your current teammate. If that happened in any other sport, I'm sorry. Imagine if, remember when Chris Paul and James Harden got into it during the 2019 season and they weren't going to play with each other? Imagine if while Chris Paul was still a member of the Houston Rockets, Chris Paul was like liking anti James Harden tweets and responding with a word. And the worst part about this is that this isn't just like random tweet. You can't even say, oh, she might accidentally like the Instagram post. She responded, she shared it on her story, and also, this is Tina Thompson. This is like one of the all-time greats, so it's not just a regular Joe Schmo. It's a horrible look for Skylar Diggins. It's a horrible look. Even if Skylar Diggins with this whole situation is in the right, this is still a horrible look. And this situation with the Storm is showing everything. These WNBA players can't just stay quiet while an investigation is going on. They can't just shut up. Like, if this investigation might end in a couple of weeks, you can't just shut up for a few weeks. If you are in the right, stay quiet. If you're in the right, like, with these legal investigations, all the truth will be most likely revealed. It will all be revealed at some stage. But liking hate posts about your teammate when you're both under contract and there's a possibility you both have to play for the Storm next year? Like, it's madness. And we've got to start treating the WNBA like it's any other sports league and call out this crap. Because this is ridiculous. And the best thing is that the more light there is being shone on this crap, the worse it is going to be. And again, we've seen the hypocrisy with like the players union. And again, at the same time, like, This could be just Jewel Lloyd and a few players being pissed off at the coaching staff. And the likes of Skylar Diggins and Nneka Nwumeke could be, could be completely in the right. But everyone just assuming, it's like, oh no, these are the vets. These are the proven winners. Jewel Lloyd has more championships than the rest of their team combined. I know, Sammy Wickham maybe. But Jewel Lloyd has more championships than both of these combined. So that logic's thrown out the window. Either way, though, look, it doesn't really matter what side to take in this situation. For me, the fact that Jewel Lloyd hasn't said anything, so I'm not going to say anything negative about how Jewel Lloyd's handled the situation. She has been silent while there's a legal situation happening. If it turns out Jewel Lloyd is just salty, then obviously Jewel Lloyd is in the wrong. Nneka Nwumeke, we don't know what Nneka Nwumeke's done. Supposedly, she just took the coach's side. And you know what? If you, we don't know the severity of what was said to the players. So it could just be she was happy with old school coaching. And I don't see anything wrong with that. The problem with Nneka Nwumeke in this situation is it is the hypocrisy of, if this situation happened with any other team, the WPA would not just say no comment. They would at worst say what they said with the Aces, being like, the WNBA takes all things of pregnancy discrimination seriously. They would have released a statement being like, the WNBA takes all allegations of bullying seriously, but as and will allow the law firm to have their findings before we make a full statement. But they just said no comment. Obviously, her being the head, that is a bad look, and that's where the hypocrisy comes in. I think that's the only negative you can say with this whole situation for Nneka Nwumeke. And then Skylar Diggins just won't shut the fuck up. Like, and I mean that. Like, there's times, go out, celebrate. If it turns out you're fully in the right, stay silent, the truth will come out, and eventually, you're going to be able to go out and you're going to be able to call out Jewel Lloyd, if she ends up getting traded. It is what it is. But, like, if it turns, like, this is the third team in a row, Skylar Diggins, it's gotten really messy in the last 4 seasons. It's gotten extremely messy with Skylar Diggins for the 3 times the last 4 years. And at this stage, maybe it's her. Who knows? But again, we don't know. I'm just speculating at the end of the day. And I think the fact that the bigger story in this whole thing is that this entire situation just sums up everything that is wrong with the WNBA in terms of players having Twitter fingers and saying some of the dumbest stuff you can put on social media for a professional athlete. You've got journalists that are a little bit too close to teams and players. Again, that journalist is calling Noelle Quinn by a nickname, accusing Jewel Lloyd's agent of... She told Jewel Lloyd's agent that she needed to look more into the contract when she actually negotiated the contract. And then also, any situation that happens in the league is a race-related issue, even if it is literally between, like, a whole team of people of the same race. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what Sammy... Like, maybe we could bring Sammy Wickham into this. Maybe Nika Mule. Maybe we need to hear Nika Mule. So, we need some diversity in this beef. So, Nika Mule... you're injured right now. Can you just get yourself involved in this beef so we can have some diversity? So there's not just, people of the same race. I don't know. I don't know what they want. Like, and I don't know what the hell ownership has to do with this. And it doesn't have anything to do with this. But racism is just a buzzword to these people. And yeah, it's really frustrating because at the end of the day, the only thing that's gonna happen is I'm Jewel Lloyd to Chicago for the 3rd pick. That's what's going to happen. I said it.